Breach Ronda Rousey. Yes, Megan Rapinoe. What an extraordinary clip that is from yesterday. This is a woman who has it all. She's got fame now. She's got money. She plays soccer for a living. Virtually everyone on earth would kill to play a sport or do what they love for a living. And yet she has decided that her victimhood is the thing that is going to be the driver in her life. Let's not forget the U.S. women's soccer team. This is just a fact. I don't take any great pleasure in it. But the U.S. women's soccer team that won the gold medal also lost to the boys under 15 team. Mm-hmm. So that means a bunch of boys that were 14-year-olds beat that team. So we can just admit it is just true. It is not right or wrong. Men and women are different at different things. There are an awful lot of men who can dunk a basketball. There aren't an awful lot of women that can do it. By the way, women can give birth to children. So, we have biological differences and there are evolutionary differences and all sorts of stuff. But the fact that she puts such primacy on how she's not paid as well, it's okay. Well, all right. Well, first off, then I guess, the men who earn the money should have to give their money to the women. I mean, how would that be right? But the idea that you get to play a sport for a living, you get to be treated like a queen, no matter where you go, and your main driver is, oh, I want more money and I'm a victim. Man, these people, it's sad actually that victimhood has become so important, that we view victimhood as virtue in 2021.
That is such an important point because, again, when it comes to these athletes, especially the ones that represent our nation on these national teams, when you have the people at the highest levels of success, whether it's Megan Rapinoe or LeBron James in the NBA, and they're always talking about how they are victimized by society instead of putting on this face about overcoming these things. Again, I think this perpetuates what was often referred to as the bigotry of low expectations for these folks, for women, John, and for minorities.
John, I unwisely, or for whatever reason, still live in Los Angeles, and LeBron James is building like a $40 million mansion about 3 miles away from my house, so you can see his oppression is quite difficult. I think there's a tree that might cause a little bit of a shade into his pool. They're working on that. We have a lot of regulations around here.
He can afford to pick up the tree and have it moved someplace else. Dave, I mean, there's just so much to talk about on these types of issues, the cancel culture stuff as well. We have a clip, too, I want to play for you. I think we might have it ready about Ayanna Pressley hosted a Zoom meeting with a bunch of freshman girls from the class of 2021. We're going to get to that in a second. But this, again, shows you about how I think our future generations are really messed up. And we're going to get to that. But all they're talking about is their pronouns and their different titles for these school clubs. Their philosophy degrees and things of that nature. They're spending so much money on their college educations. Here is that clip.
She, her pronouns, and I'm in the class of 2021.
I'm majoring in politics and critical social thought.
My major is sociology with a minor in English, and I also have a focus in educational policy and practice. So
I'm a psychology and Africana studies double major with a concentration in Black feminism.
I pray to God that these young ladies are not using student loans to pay for these educations because they're never going to pay them back. Sociology degrees don't pay, Dave Rubin. And I would love to see a video of a bunch of folks saying, yeah, I'm a HVAC technician. I'm getting my master's mechanics degree. I'm an accountant. There are plenty of things. We need people in the workforce. We need to focus more on actual results as opposed to pronouns and these ridiculous clubs on college campus. I'm all for student involvement, but come on, the Pan-African Society, what is this stuff?
John, I know I can't curse here on Newsmax, so I'm going to write down the word I want to say, but allow me to just say we're all seriously screwed. I mean, there were a couple of us about 5 or 6 years ago, mostly on YouTube and at the beginnings of some podcasts, that were warning about this stuff. I was doing a lot of events at college campuses, and if you took any position that was outside of wokeness, you were called a racist and a bigot and all of those things. And they have whittled it down to the point that basically if you send your 18-year-old to a university, whether it's public or private at this point, you are literally paying to send them to a brainwashing camp. That is what you are doing. I have no problem. These people can identify however they want. They can live whatever life they wish to live. That's all fine. But do you honestly think that any of those people right there are learning any of the tools as to how to go about and be a productive member of society?
No.
As to
They're being
go
taught
out there and compete properly and learn the things that would allow you to succeed in life, as opposed to doing what Megan Rapinoe is doing, which is then go, oh, but because I'm she, her, and I studied this, well, I'm a victim too, and I deserve this stuff. And by the way, they ain't ever paying back the student loans.
It's like
about that.
It's the Tammy Duckworth mentality that we saw this week at the White House, Dave, where, look, we've been oppressed for all these years, and from now on, we're going to do the opposite here. Unless you guys appoint Asian Americans or Pacific Islander women who are also not straight, then we are going to hold up everything. I mean, that in and of itself isn't, I think you make this point all the time. Anti-racism is the new racism.
It is the new racism. The people who purport to be the anti-racists are the ones injecting racism into the system. We don't have systemic racism in the United States. We have racist people. I would say, actually, we have as few racist people, probably per capita, as any country in the world. We've done an awful lot to right the wrongs of the past. But now it's the progressive anti-racists like Tammy Duckworth and the senator up in Hawaii who are saying, okay, Mazie Hirono, thank you, who are saying we will only vote for nominees who are either Asian or Pacific Islander or who are gay. Well, do their skills matter? Do their qualifications matter? And of course, once the outrage happened, and this is why what we do and what's happening on the internet is so important, then people actually fought back, and Duckworth at least backed off it.
Yep.
But these are really, really dangerous ideas that are antithetical to our founding documents. And the problem with that is that these people don't care about our founding documents, which is why they've pushed the ideas of the 1619 Project, that the driver behind the founding of America was racism. It's completely absurd, and yet an awful lot of good people are just cowed into silence because of it.
It's like this overwhelming wave of this stuff, and some people just let it wash over them. That you got to stand up, throw your hands up, and say stop. I mean, these are the same people that want us to sit in and listen to a lecture from Bill Clinton and Kamala Harris on empowering women and girls. No thanks, right?
John, I definitely can't say what I want to say on that one on Newsmax, so
I think
have to end this.
maybe we have to do this show after midnight one night so we can actually